Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to install a DNS server in Ubuntu 20.04 environment. So I logged in Ubuntu machine and I will go to the terminal by right clicking on the desktop and then open in terminal. I will need the IP address of this machine, so I will check IP address first. And there is a loopback adapter and one network card, and it is getting an IP address from a DHCP server that's in the NAT mode. Also I have another network card and its IP is set to static IP and it's in host only mode. So this is the IP address you're going to use to configure the DNS server. Let's first install bind, which is the DNS server in Linux environment. So the bind 9. So I'll press Y to continue. Bind 9 has been installed. Now I can check if bind 9 has been installed correctly by using the command named v, and I can see bind 9 is there. Next I will go to the folder etc and bind and look at the files. So I will go to cd etc and bind and list the files, and these are the file names that I'm gonna use. The ones that I'm going to configure is named.conf, named.conf.default zones, named.conf local, and named.conf options. Also, I will create the records in a new file, but I will copy this db.local and then modify the new file, as well as I will copy db.127 and modify that file for reverse lookups on records. Let's check the status of the machine. And my computer name is NH Ubuntu 20. I'm using Ubuntu 20.04.2 LTS. The first file I'm gonna edit is located under etc. I will use vim editor, so I will type sudo vim etc hosts. I will leave the local host, the first one, and for the second entry I will edit and add another record for the IP address that I configured. So I'll go to edit mode by pressing I on the keyboard, and now I can edit this line. So after host name I will add a domain name. Let's say my domain name is firstname.local, and then the host name, okay. So and then I have to add one more line for the IP address 172.16.0.15, and then the same as previous line. That's it. So I'm gonna exit by pressing escape key and then colon and WQ to write and quit. Next I can verify the file content by using the command cat. So the file content looks okay. Next I'm gonna verify hostname, domain name, and fully qualified domain name. So I'll type hostname and then DNS domain name and hostname qtn. So everything looks okay. Next I'm going to configure bind. So the first file I will configure is name.conf.options, and to make a backup copy of this file I will create a copy. In case things go wrong I can get the original. So I will use cp command, and since I am in the same folder where this file is located, I don't need to type in the folder name, simply the name of the file and options, and then a space, new file name. Original ORIG. So this will stay as a copy of the original file, this one. So now I can edit this file. I will add few lines. So I go to insert mode by pressing I on the keyboard, and then I will use recursion, yes, and then lesson on, and here I need to put the IP address 172.16.0.15 semicolon, curly bracket close, semicolon. And then I will also use allow transfer and none. Then I will use forwarders, the gateway IP address 16.0.2, and then close curly bracket, semicolon. So I have added these lines. I'll exit and save, press escape key, type colon on the keyboard, and then Q, WQ. Next I'm going to create forward lookup zone and reverse lookup zone. I will use an existing file named.conf.local and configure it. Before I start configuring it, I will keep a copy. So sudo cp name.conf.local, and I will save it as named.conf.local.original. Then I will edit name.conf.local, and this time I'm going to use gedit. First I will create a forward lookup zone. So I'll type in zone and then the domain name, which is, and close the double quote, and then in, then curly bracket, and this is going to be the primary DNS server. So type master, and then file will be in etc bind, and the database file that this zone will use will be db.local. Okay. And then I can close the curly bracket. Next I will create the reverse lookup zone. And then I will use the word zone. the reverse lookup zone name starts with the reverse of network address. The IP address was 172.16.0.15 and /24 subnet mask. So up to 0 is the network part. So let's start with 0.16.172 and then .in-addr.alpha, then close double quote in, and also this is the primary DNS server. So type master, and then file would be netc bind the database file for reverse lookup zone db.0.16.172, and then I can close the curly bracket and save and exit. Okay. We'll check this configuration. So there is a mistake in the options file. It's recursion, made a spelling mistake. So I will edit that file by using gedit. And recursion. So I fixed it. Save and exit. Next I will check, and it looks okay. Next I'm going to create the records in the forward lookup zone database and reverse lookup zone database. So I will edit the database file that I mentioned, and first I will take an existing database file db.local. Let's see the file list. I will take db.local, copy, and then edit the copy. I mentioned that file name in mentioned the file name in right here. So I'll copy db.local to this file and db.127 to this file and edit it. Okay, so first sudo cp local to db.local, and now I'm gonna edit. I'm gonna use gedit. The first record would be this OA record, and the host name would be the name server 1. I can append the domain name here by typing and then a dot. So if I want to append domain name, I have to always append starting from dot up to the dot. I can leave it without appending the domain name. In that case, it will be like ns1. The same here, root dot domain name dot. Now, if you have multiple domain, then it's a good idea to append the domain name. In this example, I'm going to append the domain name. So dot and also after root dot local dot. Okay, the next record would be NS record. Again here in NS record, name server 1 dot domain name dot, and for the next one I will add a host record or a record. So I need the name first, -1, and then in, and then a for IPv4 address, and a for IPv6 address. I'm not going to configure IPv6. I will use the IP address of my machine, which is 172.16.0.15, and then I will create few more records such as www a 172.16.0.15. Let's copy this. I will also add FTP in a. Another common type of record is MX record. So I will add MX record as well. Start at the red, and then in MX, and then priority number 10 and mail. Okay, the next one is mail in a and 172.16.0.15. I have name server record, NS1, www, FTP, and MX record, mail. Also, if I have other servers that I want to access from the internet by using name, then I will add those server host names here. For example, let's say NH Ubuntu 20 can be a machine name, and in that case the record would be like this: in a. Okay, so any machine that you want to access by using name, you will need to add record for that and corresponding IP address. So for this demonstration, I'm not going to use any computer name, so I'll remove that part. That's all. So I can save and close. Now I can check the named checkzone. And then the domain name and db dot showing OK. So the file db.domain name is fine. Next, I'm gonna create the reverse lookup zone by copying a file db.127. So sudo cp db.127, and the name I mentioned before is this one. So db.0.16.172, and then I will edit that file. Sudo or use gedit again. Now for the reverse lookup zone, first I will need a name server NS1, and I'm and end with the dot. So this is the domain name. I will attach this one here. Okay, and then the name server ns1 ns1 dot domain name. Okay, next I need to add pointer record for all the names that are used and their corresponding IP here, but only the host part of the IP, as the IP we're using has a /24 subnet mask. The host part is the last number only, which is 15. So 15 pointer and then ns1 dot domain name. Another would be same IP for www, and I also used FTP, and I also used mail. So mail. Okay, so that's all. I'll save, exit. Next I will check if there is an error, and the checkzone reverse lookup zone name is 0.16.172.in-reddr.alpha, and the database file is db.0.16.172. Sorry, named checkzone, named dash checkzone. Okay, and it's okay. If I check all together, named checkconf configuration file, no error, so that is okay. Named checkzone, and the database is db. That is okay, and also the last one is that is okay. Now I can restart bind9 and check the status. It's active and running. Okay, I exit by pressing Ctrl+C. Next I'm going to use DNS lookup to find www. to check if it can resolve. I can see that it can resolve, but the server IP is not my server IP, so I have to fix this by editing resolve.conf file, which is under etc. So I will show first what is there. As the name server is the one it's using here, so I will add a line before this one. Okay, that would be my first line in this in this result.conf file. However, adding the name server here would not save when you restart the machine. To make the change, added name server permanent in result.conf file, first I have to delete result.conf file. So I will use sudo m result.conf. Sorry, result.conf is not here, it's in under etc. So etc result.conf, and Then I will link resolve.conf, which is under systemd and resolve folder. So link by using sudo ln -f run and systemd resolve. It has e at the end, and then resolve.conf to etc resolve.conf. Okay, and press enter. Now I need to edit resolve.conf file under etc, add my own name server or DNS server. So I will edit etc resolve.conf. The name server is already here. If my name server were not here, then I would have added the name server right here. The reason it's here is because I copied from the resolve.conf under systemd resolve, and which had the name server that get copied from resolve.conf. But once you restart the machine and you don't have this link, then the resolve.conf under etc file get reset to what you had before. If you couldn't find name server here, then you would have added this record and save and exit. Now I will use the DNS lookup again. Now I can see that it resolved and it's coming from my server. The last thing I'm going to do is ping. That means I should be able to reach any machine that I put in the database by using name. So I will use ping and I can ping. Also I can ping FTP. That's fine. I can ping mail. That's also fine. Okay, if you are using 18.04, then the ping wouldn't work until you fix a file called nsswitch.conf under etc. So I will show you that one. The file nsswitch.conf under etc needs some change for this resolution. Okay, so I will edit etc nsswitch.conf. And this line hosts. This line, the word DNS should come right after files. Okay, I'm gonna move this DNS right after files, and then save and exit. Now I will ping. I'm getting a reply. Okay. Also reboot and check if everything is working. So sudo reboot. So I'll open terminal, and then I will first use DNS lookup. So the server looks okay, and the name and address could be resolved. Now we'll ping using different names. I got the ping reply. Then I will ping FTP. Got ping reply. And that is the end of this video. I hope you found this video was helpful. If you would like to receive notifications on future videos, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and set up notifications by tapping on the bell. Thank you for watching.